everybody to this awesome headaches webinar. Gosh, the American Headache Society just released that every 10 seconds an American goes to the ER for a headache or a migraine. That's a lot of people suffering. It's to the cost of $1 billion a year in over-the-counter medications for headaches and migraines. And that's about $13 billion in lost revenue from people staying home from work when they're sick and hurting. That's just not good enough, and I know we can do better. So I'm Dr. Liisa Hall, and tonight we're going to talk about how to fix these numbers and how to take responsibility for our own health. We're in a time of a weird crisis. We've got this crazy COVID-19 thing going on, and right now we know we spend billions of dollars a year as a country on healthcare, and the best they've got for us is wash your hands, social distance, and pray for a vaccine or some kind of cure. So thank you for being here. We know that people who take their health seriously have better health results and better lives to show for it. So we're going to jump right in. It can be difficult to see these slides, so I apologize for that. We'll see what we can do about linking them. But in this office, in our chiropractic practice, we are on an absolute mission because we know that the people in our office are healthier and safer than the people and the families outside of our office. And we know that when we make great healthcare choices, we can make a difference over time. So tonight we're talking about headaches, and I want to say that headaches are not the problem. Headaches are an issue that people are dealing with symptom-wise, but really it's an underlying issue beneath the surface that's causing these headaches. And we've all seen that iceberg analogy where the symptom is the top of the iceberg and underneath we've got all the causes. Headaches are certainly no exception, and so many things can cause headaches in our bodies. We're going to get to the bottom of a lot of them tonight. Here's a dangerous belief I want to be really clear on. Drugs work. I'm not so sure they do. As a kid, I took a lot of over-the-counter and prescription medications for, in my case, it was asthma and allergies. And quite frankly, because they didn't work, I was able to try out chiropractic, and I'm here today without asthma or allergies. In fact, I don't have immune issues at all because of chiropractic. But drugs don't always work. What they do is mask symptoms, and that's a really dangerous place to be. So if we're masking symptoms only, that's reverbing, Amina. So if we're masking symptoms only, we're suffering through, hang on, that's on my screen, and it's talking back to me. All right, we love technology. So drugs don't always work. Drugs do change symptoms, but if they're chipping away at the top of the iceberg, they're not doing anything to get to the bottom of the iceberg. So we've really got to get to the root of what's going on in these situations. I want to talk about health from a very different perspective. I want to think about health on a continuum. And at one end of that continuum, you've got ultimate health and wellness, your best self. And at the other end of the continuum, you actually have premature death, suffering, disease, and symptoms. And I believe most people are actually bouncing between a place in the middle where they're in this like neutral zone of not being sick and having symptoms. But not having symptoms and not being sick doesn't actually mean you're healthy. And I want to talk about how do we start moving ourselves into the right end of the continuum so we can actually experience optimal health on a daily basis. You're showing up because you want to know more about your health. Well, we need to make changes, because if we keep doing what we've always done, we're absolutely going to keep getting what we've always gotten. There's 5 areas for us to focus on tonight specifically. The first 4 will influence your health. The final 5th controls your health. Now, I'm not seeing comments coming back from you, but I know if I ask the question of which would you rather spend the most time on tonight, the 4 that influence your health or the 1 that controls your health, I can imagine you want to talk about the thing that controls your health. So we're going to cover the first 4 that influence your health and that affect headaches every single day in one slide. Here it is. The 4 things that influence your health are how you eat, how you move, how you think, and how you sleep. All within the context of this continuum, because every single thing that I mentioned, eating, moving, thinking, and sleeping, all are either sufficient or deficient, or they're toxic. And if you have those as insufficiencies, if you don't have enough of the right nutrients, you're going to be more susceptible to having headaches. If your movement lifestyle is insufficient or deficient, which so many people's are right now because they're sitting at their computer desks all day at home, we are toxic in our movement pattern. But I don't think I need to say a whole lot about those things. You know what's healthy or not healthy. We often joke, donut or banana, what do you eat? You know what's healthy and what's not healthy. You may be missing out on what key nutrients can help support the body and prevent you from having headaches. But at the end of the day, I've also found so many patients have told me, I've tried everything. They've tried everything from those first 4 categories and they still have their headaches, they still have their migraines, they're still suffering with pain and symptoms. So they haven't tried everything, they've just tried everything that they hear about every day in regular media. So let's talk about the thing that matters the most. You are designed to be healthy. I don't know that there's anything more important for us to really understand. We were completely and utterly designed to be healthy. It's natural for us to grow up healthy and age optimally and crave healthy foods and healthy movement. It's natural for us to wake up feeling optimistic about the day, to crave healthy exercise and want to have great relationships. That's a natural thing. It's within the human genome. It's within our species. But we're living so unnaturally that we've forgotten that we were designed to actually be healthy. Your body is intelligent. I don't know any greater argument than the fact that we can turn into whole big human bodies in just 9 months from 2 half cells. I mean, 2 half cells. They weren't even 2 whole cells. They come together and they start dividing and multiplying until 9 months later, you're a whole human being. And then after you're born, you don't stop growing. In fact, so many aspects of your body just keep developing and unfolding. The only organ not fully formed when you're born is your brain. Your brain's constantly taking in your surroundings and adapting to them and making you a stronger, happier, healthier person. That's just what your brain is designed for, assuming the environment is healthy. But this is our birthright. This is a really important thing to remember. And when we're suffering and struggling with headaches or migraines on a regular basis, it's easy to forget that we were designed to be healthy and that our bodies are brilliant. But those are actually facts. I'm about to now talk about that 5th thing that controls your health. We have to get there fast tonight. We've got to talk about it for a long time. The entire time we're talking tonight is going to be about the one thing you need to take the most control of and the most care of. Because at the end of the day, I have done talks, all over Kansas City, across New England. We've done health talks for many people, and what I've noticed is the people who get the most out of what we teach them and who actually have tangible, awesome, incredible changes in their lives are the ones who learn this well and who do something about it. So I'm not about to throw out a bunch of information to those of you who are not already patients in our office without giving you a solution. At the end of my talk today, I'll give you a great option as far as how you can take advantage of what we do in our office to find out if this final aspect is not working well for you in your life. But here's what it is. It's your nervous system. Your nervous system is your master system. You have an incredible spine that is there to protect that nervous system. You know you've got a skull to protect your brain. Well, your spinal column is a suit of armor for your spinal cord and nervous system. Why does this have to do with headaches? Think about this. What is a headache? A headache can be anything from dehydration. It can be toxicity, it can be too much caffeine, it can be detox from too little caffeine because you're addicted, it can be a hangover from too much alcohol in prior hours or days. A headache can be there because of toxicity, but what I see more often than not is that this published article in the Journal of Occupational Trauma says that the vast majority of headaches are coming from spinal stress more than any other condition. So we've got to deal with the spinal stress thing right away. And what do I mean by spinal stress? Let's get really clear on it. Spinal stress is any pull, torque, misalignment, or torsion on the spinal nerves. Really think about this. I want you to understand that this applies to all of us, children and adults. I think right away of this beautiful boy named Drew who came into our office last July. And his mom found us online. She gave me a call. Speaking of which, if you want to have a conversation with me about any of the things that we bring up but don't delve deep enough in tonight, you can actually click on my calendar link below and just schedule a time for us to talk. So we can take any of this conversation in a different direction or more specific to you in particular. But that's exactly what happened with this mom. Is she and I just got to talking, and she said, Dr. Liisa, I've taken, my son Drew is 12 years old. He's taken all the over-the-counter medications. He's done magnesium. He's taken omega-3s. He's done all the nutrient protocols that are recommended. We've changed his sleep patterns. We've altered all these things, and he still is struggling with these headaches. And they weren't just headaches. These were diagnosed as vestibular migraines. And that's a huge deal for a kid, because when he was sitting in class, he would literally get so overwhelmed neurologically, he would throw up. He missed so many days of school. This is a 12-year-old kid who's tried everything to help his body heal. And what I said to his mom is the same thing I'd say to almost everybody really, is let's find out if he has spinal stress. It's a very easy series of tests that I'll discuss in a little while. But what we found with Drew was that he'd done everything except find out if he had spinal stress. And it was so frustrating for everybody, because it's not like they had just been hoping they would go away. They had been seeking out medical care for years. He, in fact, had started struggling with these migraines when he was 7 years old. So 5 years in, no solutions. And it all came down in his case to a number of different levels in his spine that were irritated and causing spinal stress. Specifically, misalignment of the spine is known as subluxation. It's tricky to see on that imaging, but if you can see it, what you'll notice is on an x-ray, bones will start to change shape. If a bone is changing shape on an x-ray, it's not because it's old. It's because there's a problem that's getting old. Something's not moving properly. It's literally rotting from the inside, and we need to be really clear about that fact. It's not an overstatement to say the spine is rotting. It's literally dropping in more calcium deposits and other elements that are going to glue those bones together in a brilliant attempt to create stability and fuse those levels together. That's a great option if you don't have another one to stop that in the meantime. But what we did was we found out in his spine a number of areas that weren't moving properly. It's called a subluxation, and we started correcting them. We'll talk more about those after, but think about subluxation for now as a really, really simple switch in the wrong position. If you think of your spine as 24 bones that all need to be lined up the right way, any one of those in the off position is like shutting down the power panel in your home and preventing electricity from getting to the body. Now, how does that really apply in the cases of headaches and migraines? Anywhere in your spine will interfere with input to your brain. Depending on how extreme that input interruption is, there can be different varying effects or extreme experiences as far as that headache goes. What we know with stress headaches, for example, is those subluxations or misalignments are specifically throughout the neck. You might think, well, every headache has subluxations in the neck. That's not true at all. Stress headaches come from misalignments in the neck.
We'll get back to the webinar in just a moment. We wanted to let you know about one of the best ways you can transform your health, and that is getting a spinal checkup and having a new patient experience in our office.
Yeah, that's right. The reason that we get the great results that we do starts with the assessment we do in our office. We believe that everyone deserves to have a proper spinal checkup.
The benefits of our process is that not only can we get to the bottom of a health issue and find out exactly what's going on, but in a lot of situations we can find the issues before they become big health problems and make sure that you never deal with them in the first place.
Our patients often tell us that our new patient experience is one of the most comprehensive health assessments they've ever had. It consists of a consultation with one of us, a posture assessment, range of motion and bilateral weight scale study, an in-depth symptom review, a case history, thermography, and all necessary digital x-rays. Then we schedule a time for you to come back and do your report of findings with one of us.
Now, normally all of this is just $350, which is great when you consider that this is one of the most important health checkups you can ever have. But because you are watching our webinar, we wanted to extend you a special offer. We are offering our new patient experience to you with everything that we just mentioned for only $49.
That's right. You can text the word webinar to our office at 913-624-3888, and our team will reach out to you to schedule a time to come into our office. Or if you'd like to schedule right now, you can visit our website, which is listed below, and just click on the schedule appointment button.
Now, we only have 5 spaces available for this offer per webinar, so please take advantage of this today because spaces fill up fast, and reserve a spot for your new patient experience. We know it will transform the way that you look at your health. We can't wait to meet you.
Stress headaches come from misalignments in the neck. And I want to step back for a second to explain some anatomy, because the more you understand this, the better health you will literally have for the rest of your life. So I'm going to borrow my spine and show you exactly how this works. But here's the deal. Everybody has a spine because we need to protect those really delicate nerves. The nerves in the neck are running the thyroid gland, they're running blood flow up to the brain, and they're also carrying every message that's going to go elsewhere in the body. It's well known among informed healthcare providers that a misalignment of any of these bones in the spine is called a subluxation, and therefore it causes damaging stress to the surrounding nerve. What causes these subluxations, though, is our lives. It's our slips and falls, it's our car accidents, our sports injuries, it's sitting at our computers too much. That forward head posture is extremely common with stress headaches. And what we know with a stress headache is as more and more of these levels get involved, the musculature of the back has to try to counterbalance all of that. So it goes into this tug of war between alignment of the head pushing forward and the muscles trying to pull it back. A stress headache sufferer is also the person who's not going to sleep well. Stuck things aren't comfortable in sleeping positions. They toss and turn, they roll around. Their body's literally trying to fix it or unstick it while they sleep. It's an incredibly frustrating process because we need sleep in order to heal. If we revisit those 4 things that influence our body versus control our body or our health, like our spine, we know sleep is a critical one. And right now, people are so stressed out and have such tension and stress through their necks, they're not getting the sleep they need. Think about it for yourself. When was the last time you got consistently between 7 and 9 hours of sleep? If you're not consistently sleeping between 7 and 9 hours, this nervous system is in overdrive all night long and then right into the next day. So stress headache sufferers almost every time have subluxation throughout the neck, but oftentimes in the upper back as well. Think about that. If you're spending your time at a computer desk, you know you're more likely to have stress headaches. Now, I think we got our screen in there, that's great. Sinus headaches are really similarly attributable to certain levels of the spine. And now if you reach behind your neck and you feel that big lump right underneath the base of your skull, it's called C2. It's kind of linking, Andrew. C2 is the second vertebra down. It has a huge big bump on the back. C2 is nearly always implicated in sinus headaches. Sinus headaches are not always attributable to allergies. So often people have stress on those similar nerves and therefore end up with weak immune function, asthma, allergy symptoms, and therefore think that it's all one issue. And it's just really not. And that's why what we do really well is find out what's unique to each individual to see what's the best care protocol necessary. Because at the end of the day, I just can't handle how many more people are given drugs to manage the symptoms and not deal with the cause of them. I think of another patient of ours who, she started care and had migraines 1 to 3 times a week was the average, so we'll say twice a week for years. Twice a week migraines for years and years and years. And she started care in our office. Within the first month, she'd had 1 migraine instead of 12 perhaps, 6, 8, 12. Within the first 2 months, she'd only had 1 more other migraine. And a handful of months later, she got pregnant. And her MD said, or her obstetrician said, well, we know you're headache prone, we know you're migraine prone, you've suffered all these years with migraines. We know that pregnancy is an increased stress on the body. It's likely to trigger these migraines. Let's go ahead and make sure you have the prescription you need to handle those symptoms when they show up. This is the bag of drugs that she would have taken. It's a huge bag. It's really strong stuff too. I don't know what Fioricet is because I don't do that. But it's a heavy bag of drugs. It's a huge bag of drugs. And when she handed it to me, she was laughing, but really we laugh so we don't cry, because she said, my baby would have taken all of those. Imagine that. Imagine putting those in your mouth and then knowing that your unborn child is taking those same drugs. That's crazy to me. And so why we keep talking about the nervous system is because it is the system that runs you. And what happened with this beautiful, wonderful mama is that we just helped unlock the stresses out of her spine so she wasn't suffering. And not only did she just not take the drugs, she thrived through her pregnancy and she did really great. So we have other options, and we've really just got to consider that, because it's not just us who's affected by this stuff. It's our children, and they're watching what we're doing too. Migraine headaches specifically have another whole subset of stresses in the spine that show up. With migraines, it's almost always hormonal. Almost always hormonal. And this is key, because you can go to your medical doctor and get your thyroid labs done or get your hormone labs done, and I nearly guarantee it, they're always going to come back and say they're normal. And yet how many people say, but the labs are normal, but I'm still suffering? And it's really because our lab testing isn't good enough, and also because the ranges they're using to define normal are just wrong. It's not about optimal function at all at this point. We have to think about this. What's the cause of the lack of function within the body? How do we remove that lack, or that interference, I should say, to allow that function to release itself? Remember when I said your body is smart? It is. Think about it. How many times do you take a breath every day without thinking? How many times will your heart beat in your lifetime without you having to control or think about any of it? Your body's working on your behalf constantly. We fight what our bodies need by eating horrible diets, by focusing too much on the news. I mean, I said thinking well will influence your health, but how much time are you spending, filing through social media that's negative or scary? So many people start their day reading bad news. They pop in and out of it all day long, and then they finish their day reading more bad news. How on earth is that going to allow your smart body to express its wellness or its ability to function? That blows my mind. And I know many of you have already seen a chiropractor, you've had your spine evaluated, you know if you have subluxation. But why I keep sticking with this one system that's controlling your body and therefore influencing your migraines or not is because I'm asking you to step it up to another level. Take your nervous system more seriously. Feed it better. In the morning when you're putting breakfast in your mouth, ask yourself, is this supporting my electrical circuitry, or is it short-circuiting that electrical circuitry? Am I drinking enough water? Think about it from a really basic perspective. If you throw a hairdryer in a bathtub, I don't know why we all know this, you know you're gonna get electrocuted because electricity travels quickly over water. You're an electrical system. Your nervous system is an electrical system. You need to allow that flow to happen quickly and efficiently, and dehydration slows that function. It will make you more likely to have headaches and migraines. It's just that simple. If you're honoring the brilliance of your body, you'll remember that you can't eat junk food all day, every day. You just can't, and not allow yourself to function optimally. That makes sense, right? Pay attention to how your body's feeling. Ask yourself the questions. Am I taking care of the one thing that controls my body as best as I can? If the answer is yes, you're doing better than most people. That's just a fact. If the answer is no, then now it's time to start looking at taking care of that, taking care of your eating, your moving, your thinking, your sleeping, and get them all lined up in a way that's going to help your body work. Migraines, I said, come back to hormones. If you have chronic issues in the upper lower spine, so upper lumbar spine, L1, L2, that's the area that's really influencing the adrenal glands, as well as ovaries in women, as well as C6 in the middle of the neck, that's your thyroid area and innervation. Think about that. If you've got low back issues and migraines, it's almost always correlative. You're going to have that because your hormones are out of whack. So we've got to do more than just take care of the spine, we've got to get those hormones balanced as well. It just makes sense. None of this is rocket science. It's just all straightforward physiology. All right, a little jokey moment. The pain starts in my husband's lower back, then it travels up his spine to his neck, then it comes out his mouth and into my ears, and that's why I get these headaches. We have to laugh about this stuff. We have to. It's devastating how many people are suffering from, really just suffering from our lifestyles. This is what's causing subluxations. Look at your kids right now. They're home on their devices. They're learning school from home. Watch them. You know, it's not okay for us to start these habits at such young ages. I don't even know how that girl in the middle has her head that far forward. It's devastating. She's literally stretching her spinal cord. I can guarantee that if she keeps that up, she will end up with stress headaches. Think about that. Where did your stress headaches come from? Or where did your migraines headaches come from? Or your sinus headaches come from? What is the influence that you've had on your body? Because this is what we're doing with our free time, is too much screens. Sitting is the new smoking. I think we've heard this so many times. It's almost like it's, well, I guess it's an axiom now, but sitting is the new smoking. We were never moving so little as we are right now. We've got to be more conscious of it. And I want you to pay attention to this image especially, and how every single inch of forward head posture increases the load on the spine by an additional 10 pounds. A 10-pound load on the upper back will exacerbate that stress headache problem, as well as then force another compensatory curve in the low back, which then will set you up for migraines. Again, L1, L2 affecting the adrenals and our other hormonal glands. Doesn't that all just make sense? Is there a reason why when people suffer from headaches, they just go so quickly to aspirin, Tylenol, whatever heavy drug that they have access to, without asking the question of, what's the state of my spinal cord right now? Or what's the state of my body and my posture? How am I really breaking myself down at this point? Forward head posture, if I could correct one thing on everybody for the rest of my life, it would be this. Picture what those muscles are doing in the upper back as your head shifts forward. Neck pain, TMJ issues, shoulder, arm, and hand pain, degenerative arthritis, of course, is setting in. That's the spine literally rotting from misalignments. This is how our body breaks down over time. Headaches are no joke because they literally suck the life out of us. I don't know anyone who focuses well with a headache. I don't know anyone who's kind consistently with the people around them when they're suffering in pain. These are the little things that become huge problems and really move us down that continuum towards premature death. That's a big deal. We need to take it seriously. How would you know if you have subluxation? In our office, we use 5 really specific objective criteria, and the first 3 I want to talk a lot about because some of you have never been to a chiropractic office, some of you are nowhere near us here in Kansas City, and you have no ability to come into our office. But I'm going to make a recommendation that you figure out these 3 really well in your own life so you can determine if you should go visit a chiropractor or come and see us to see exactly if and how we can help. But the first one is just posture visualization. Look at your posture. Look at yourself in the mirror. What are your balances and imbalances? A forward head posture, most people don't really know how bad theirs is. Ask someone else to look and see if your ear is lining up with your shoulder, because I guarantee if it's not, you're going to set the stage for stress headaches. It's a given. Second is ranges of motion. If you can't check your blind spots as you're driving, that's a major problem. We should have 80 degrees of rotation. That's a lot of turning power. But if you can't check your blind spot, that means you don't have normal range of motion. The same is true for looking all the way down and all the way up and leaning to the sides. I'm only talking about your neck. What about the rest of your spine? How are you able to move or not move? This is critical, guys. This is your lifeline. If your nervous system wasn't as important as it is, it wouldn't have been given a suit of armor to protect it. We absolutely need to know these things, and your signs from your body that you may be listening to or might be ignoring by now are really simple.
We'll get back to the webinar in just a moment. We wanted to let you know about one of the best ways you can transform your health, and that is getting a spinal checkup and having a new patient experience in our office.
Yeah, that's right. The reason that we get the great results that we do starts with the assessment we do in our office. We believe that everyone deserves to have a proper spinal checkup.
The benefits of our process is that not only can we get to the bottom of a health issue and find out exactly what's going on, but in a lot of situations we can find the issues before they become big health problems and make sure that you never deal with them in the first place.
Our patients often tell us that our new patient experience is one of the most comprehensive health assessments they've ever had. It consists of a consultation with one of us, a posture assessment, range of motion and bilateral weight scale study, an in-depth symptom review, a case history, thermography, and all necessary digital x-rays. Then we schedule a time for you to come back and do your report of findings with one of us.
Now, normally all of this is just $350, which is great when you consider that this is one of the most important health checkups you can ever have. But because you are watching our webinar, we wanted to extend you a special offer. We are offering our new patient experience to you with everything that we just mentioned for only $49.
That's right. You can text the word webinar to our office at 913-624-3888, and our team will reach out to you to schedule a time to come into our office. Or if you'd like to schedule right now, you can visit our website, which is listed below, and just click on the schedule appointment button.
Now, we only have 5 spaces available for this offer per webinar. So please take advantage of this today because spaces fill up fast, and reserve a spot for your new patient experience. We know it will transform the way that you look at your health. We can't wait to meet you.
We absolutely need to know these things, and your signs from your body that you may be listening to or might be ignoring by now are really simple. How am I standing? Am I upright? Am I crooked? Am I twisted? Am I leaning? How am I moving? How's my balance? In our office, we measure balance side to side. We can use 2 simple weight scales and see if someone's leaning more to one side or the other. So literally, if their weight is balanced down both halves of their body. But another really simple test is close your eyes. Can you stand without swaying with your eyes closed? If you can, test it a little further. Can you stand on one foot with your eyes closed without falling over or catching yourself? Balance is key. What balance is really telling us is, are all the messages that are supposed to be going up to the brain sending the right information? A huge misnomer is that our brain's just the brilliant thing running the whole show. It's not actually true. Brain's pretty amazing. Yes, it's running a lot, but it's only running the show based on all the information it gets from our body parts. In fact, for every 1 message down that your brain sends, there's 40 going up. So if you close your eyes, you should still be able to touch your finger to your nose, for example. You should know where you are in space. That's all that amazing, wonderful neurological information getting up to your brain, telling you what's going on, so the brain can then adapt to its environment and respond in kind and respond in an appropriate way. Remember I said that the brain was the only organ that wasn't fully formed at birth? It forms through all that input. So if we're not active enough, we're not putting enough input in there. Or what if we are active, but something's just stuck in that spine and it's not allowing those messages to get up properly? This is huge, you guys. It really is. The 4th and 5th objective criteria we use to find out if someone has subluxation are things you have to do in our office or in a chiropractic office. It's palpation. Our hands are really well skilled at finding subluxations because we've trained them that way. We can feel hot spots, cold spots, stuck things, tight things, loose things. We can just feel how stuff is moving or not moving. And then we've got x-rays. On your screen, you'll see an x-ray of a terrible looking spine. It's a mom of 4 who's had migraines, again, twice a week for 10 years. Twice a week for 10 years. And it really wasn't until her low back started talking to her too loudly that she said, I need to do something about this. And I honestly believe she hadn't come in sooner about her migraines because she really didn't think there was anything else she could do about it. If there's no other reason for me to be here tonight, it's to tell you there's always something you can do about it. And yes, we're talking about headaches, and yes, we're talking about migraines, but at the end of the day, I have studied health and wellness literally for nearly 30 years. because I know we're supposed to be doing better than we are. And I know we can do great. So whatever the symptoms are that you're struggling with, why not find out, is my nervous system firing right or not firing right, and is at the bottom of it? So I get it. I get that she'd given up hope because she'd tried eating better, moving better, thinking better, sleeping better, and none of those worked for her. But when she finally came into our office and we did this evaluation, her posture was obvious. Forward head posture, uneven shoulders, and a twist in the hips. That was there. Ranges of motion, not normal. Balance on the weight scales, not normal. So we took x-rays. And it was really obvious. If you look at this neck x-ray, you may not understand x-rays really well, but this is a reversed neck curve. Her neck is literally going in the wrong direction. That top line up at 10 degrees is supposed to be 30 degrees, meaning her head's not even on straight. She can't correct her posture by just trying because it's so jammed in the wrong direction. When we lose our neck curve, and certainly in that mom's case, when you buckle it backwards, it will stretch your spinal cord as much as 5 to 7 centimeters. That is devastating. A 5 to 7 centimeter shift or pull on the spinal cord literally produces pathological tension, forcing the body into a state of disease. That's a medical doctor who wrote that. He's spot on. It's been published many times over in many brilliant journals. But this is a terrifying reality for so many of our young moms, especially who are spending all their time in a forward flex position, taking care of their kids on the floor. Now that we're all in this weird position of being home and homeschooling our kids, if you're in that position, we're all spending time doing things that we're not accustomed to. But if your body's strong and capable and healthy, we can adapt to that. If you're not, you're feeling that pull a lot more. I'm seeing moms a lot more frazzled coming into the office because they're so stressed out with all of that. And these are moms who are well adjusted, who are doing a lot of great things for their health. So if you're struggling, certainly know you're not alone, but also know there's a lot that you can do about it. Another dangerous belief that I have to just bring up as often as possible is that there's nothing that can be done. People say all the time, I've tried everything, doc. I've been everywhere. And my first question, great, so what does your spine look like? I have no idea. I've been to a chiropractor. Great, what do your x-rays look like? I have no idea, they never took them. That's not good enough. What it means when there's nothing that can be done or you believe that nothing else can be done, it's because you just haven't dug deep enough or you're not motivated enough to live a really high quality life. But I want to tell you, you deserve it. Because it is our birthright. We're designed to be healthy and to age slowly and gracefully and awaken each day, optimistic about our day. It's important that we live these quality lives because everybody around us is relying on it. 90 days after that original x-ray was taken on our awesome mom of 4 who was having 2 migraines a week, we saw these huge changes on her x-ray. And honestly, if you know what a healthy neck x-ray looks like from the side, you know that her 90-day x-ray is not optimal. But it was beautiful, and there was so much less pathological tension on her spinal cord that she was actually thriving. The funny thing is she hadn't had a migraine in the 6 weeks prior to that x-ray. After 1 month of getting adjusted, where we started fine-tuning her nervous system and taking stress off those nerves, she'd already said, I've only had 1 migraine this month, which was unheard of for her. In the second month, similar story, or maybe none that month. But at her 90-day x-ray, we were telling her how proud of her we were and how great she was doing, and she said, honestly, I don't even care what the x-rays show. I haven't had a migraine in 6 whole weeks. Life-changing. 4 kids. They're needing her to be healthy. But again, I'm gonna hit this point really hard because this is everything. If you don't know what your nervous system looks like, if you're not taking care of it optimally, it's not healthy, period. And I'm so sorry to be taking care of adults who have never had chiropractic care in their past, because there's so much back work that often needs to be done. And yes, we can help them feel better and thrive and be happier, but there's nothing like taking care of a problem when it's new. It's a lot easier to stay healthy than it is to try to regain health. We're seeing this way more across the media right now with COVID-19. The people who are dying are the ones with the additional issues, with the unhealthy bodies, with secondary concerns or diseases or dysfunctions. This is a big deal. We owe it to ourselves now more than ever to be the strongest host possible, because I'm kind of tired about people talking about how strong the virus is. It is what it is. Why don't we work on making stronger hosts so we're not susceptible? Yes, we can put our head in the sand. You can totally put your head in the sand. That is an option for you. I have literally had patients tell me, I don't want to know. I really don't want to have x-rays. I think I'm done. I've got to go. And you know what I say? If you're really sure that that's true for you, then go. I can't help you if you don't want help, and certainly if you don't believe you can get help. But I don't believe that's most people. I just don't. I believe that we only put our head in the sand when we believe we don't have any other options. Another hugely debilitating, dangerous belief, maybe it'll just go away. Maybe it will. But if you're dealing with headaches, you know it's not going away. It would have gone away by now. It's the most dangerous belief in healthcare, we believe in our office, is that maybe it'll just go away. And so finding out how your body's functioning is really critical. And yes, I can talk about other ways that we find out if our body's healthy through lab work and exercise testing, but all of those do still come back to your nervous system. So we've got to get to the root of that and figure it out. Here's the offer, excuse me, that I said I'd be making to each and every one of you who's watching this webinar. Number one, if you want to just talk to me or Dr. Andrew about anything regarding your health, we are available to you. We love answering questions. We have a lot of answers, and the answers we don't have, we can help you find or find someone who has those answers. So honestly, take us up on it. Click the calendar link below and schedule a consultation with us. We just love to have these conversations because we know that so much is riding on it. Like Drew, if his mom hadn't called me because she didn't believe that we could help until we had a conversation, you know, if she hadn't called me, he wouldn't be migraine free today. He started care last July. In his first month, he hadn't thrown up at school once that month. His migraines were less intense and less frequent. That was after 4 weeks of care. After 8 weeks of care, same exact story, still hadn't thrown up. Less intense headaches, less frequent headaches. And I call them headaches now, even though they were the most horrific, violent vestibular migraines. To me, they don't even exist anymore because last week his mom just said, can't even remember the last time Drew had a headache. My favorite part of that story happened probably in month 3 when Drew said to me, you know what's really neat is I start to feel when my body's not right. I can tell when something's off, and I can actually prevent myself from getting a migraine at this point. And in chiropractic, one of the greatest gifts we give people is the ability to feel their body better. You actually are tuned in better. You know when you're hungry, you know when you're thirsty, you know when something's just tweaky and you shouldn't be doing a certain movement or a certain exercise which could aggravate it, or you know when you should push it further at the gym. We feel our bodies better. That was the coolest thing for me, was hearing that back from him, and of course getting to see him regularly, because now he gets adjusted to stay well. The 5 objective criteria I talked about earlier, we do in our office every single day with every single new patient we see, and this is a non-negotiable because we want to know the cause of someone's health issues. Yes, we talk nutrition. Yes, we talk sleep. Yes, we talk movement. Yes, we talk about your goals and what you want out of your health, because we want to keep you accountable to those and we want you to reach all of those. But we also know we've got to just get to the bottom of how that nervous system's doing first and foremost. So anyone who wants to take us up on this can come into our office for that whole, criteria of things that we look for. We check posture, ranges of motion, check your balance, feel your spine. We have nerve thermography testing in here so we can measure temperature side to side in the spine and see how things are firing. We do full spine x-rays on everybody over the age of 8. Some kids younger than 8, if there's signs that we need to have more information, and x-rays are so powerful. It's black and white information about how your body works. And that also includes a report of findings. So next day you come back, we go over everything we found, what it means, if we can help, and exactly how we would go about helping. I don't know anybody right now who wants to go to the ER for any of these tests. No one really wants to be in a hospital right now for so many awesome or awful reasons. But if you did all those tests in an ER, what do you think that would cost you? Literally, I've asked that question many times, and people always say, oh, thousands of dollars probably. And it would be worth it because you'd be finding out how your body functions or is dysfunctioning at the deepest, most root level, how it actually is working from your lifeline out. We literally do that whole exam in our office for $350. That's just what we do. But more importantly, for anyone watching this video or this webinar, you can do that in our office for 50 bucks. It's a no-brainer. I mean, we do it because we want to take away any and all barriers from people finding out where they're at with their health. I have never, in 15 years of chiropractic care, and Andrew's and mine combined 30 years, I guess, we've never once had anyone say to us, that doesn't make any sense. Every time we hear words like, wow, that makes so much sense. Why didn't anyone else tell me that? Wow, so you're telling me that these nerves run my blood flow to my head and they go right behind my eyes, like right where that ice pick stabbing pain is going in? That's where these nerves are irritated from, and my x-ray shows it exactly there as the subluxation. Why didn't anyone tell me this? This is so obvious. So we want to make it obvious for you too. We want that opportunity for you. We just want you to get a checkup. So take us up on it. It means the world to us. It's us serving our purpose. If we don't get to do what we do, we're not fulfilling our mission. And so please take us up on it. It's something that makes us super happy. In order to do so, you can click on the Calendly link. There's a lot of ways of contacting us. You can message us on Facebook, whatever a method that you found this on. But you can also just text the word headaches to our office phone number, 913-624-3888. If you text headaches to that, we'll set you up with that test. So we want you guys to be well, we want you to be happy, we want you to be healthy, and most importantly, we want you to figure out the root cause of what you're dealing with, because headaches are no small thing. Thanks so much, you guys.